A heart stops beating, lungs stop breathing, cells stop firing. But the brain doesn't get the memo. So what exactly is happening inside your skull in the final second before you die? And why does it feel like time itself is breaking? For most of human history, we assumed death was a switch. On, then off, lights out, a clean ending, like closing a book mid-sentence. But in 2022, a team of neurologists at the University of Louisville recorded something nobody expected. They were monitoring the brain of an 87-year-old epilepsy patient when he suddenly had a heart attack and died right there under the EEG. And for 30 seconds before and after his heart stopped, his brain did something extraordinary. It lit up in gamma waves, the exact same waves your brain produces during dreaming, deep meditation, and memory recall. The same waves linked to what scientists call conscious retrieval, the act of replaying your life inside your own head. A cat's brain doesn't do this. A mouse's brain doesn't do this. Not in the same pattern, not in that intensity, but yours might. Every single one of us might. Think about that for a second, because if that gamma surge means what it looks like it means, then your last second of life isn't a second at all. It's a flood, a cascade, an entire internal cinema firing at once. Every birthday, every heartbreak, every face you've ever loved, compressed into a window that lasts less than the blink of an eye. And it gets stranger. In 2013, Dr. Jimo Borjigan, a neuroscientist at the University of Michigan, ran an experiment on dying rats. She expected flatlines. What she got was the opposite. Within 30 seconds of cardiac arrest, the rats' brains released a surge of neural activity 8 times stronger than waking consciousness. 8 times. She spent over a decade trying to make sense of it, and what she found completely changed how we understand the moment of death. Because the dying brain, she argued, isn't shutting down. It's doing the opposite. It's igniting. Nobody talks about this. Survivors of cardiac arrest have been trying to tell us this for years. In a 2014 AWARE study led by Dr. Sam Parnia at NYU Langone, the largest study of near-death experiences ever conducted, 46% of resuscitated patients reported detailed memories from the period when their hearts were not beating. Some described floating, some described tunnels, some described reliving decades of their life in what felt like minutes. Dolphins don't report this. Chimpanzees can't report this. We're the only species on this planet that comes back from the edge and tries to describe what it saw. But here's where it gets complicated, because mainstream science actually has a pretty good answer for this. And honestly, it might be even more interesting than the mystical version. When your heart stops, oxygen to the brain drops fast. Neurons, starved and panicking, fire in massive, synchronized bursts. A kind of neurological fireworks show. The gamma waves, a side effect of dying cells dumping their last electrical charge. The life review, the hippocampus and temporal lobe misfiring together, pulling memories out of storage in a chaotic flood. The tunnel of light, oxygen-deprived retinas collapsing from the edges inward. It's elegant, it's testable, it fits the data. So that settles it, right? Well, not quite, because there's one thing that chemistry cannot explain: the coherence. When your brain is dying, it should be chaos, random noise, scrambled signals, neurons screaming in different directions. Instead, the patterns are organized, structured, meaningful. The gamma waves recorded in that 2022 study weren't random at all. They were synchronized across regions that normally only coordinate like this during conscious, focused thought. 100 years ago, we didn't know the brain had electricity. 50 years ago, we couldn't measure a dying neuron. 10 years ago, we'd never recorded a human brain at the exact moment of death. 3 years ago, we discovered it might be doing something that looks a lot like remembering. Each discovery came faster, and each one made the mystery bigger, not smaller. Because here's the question nobody has answered. If your brain is running out of oxygen, if it's collapsing cell by cell, if it's supposed to be dying, then who or what is organizing that final symphony? The most honest answer science has right now is, we don't fully know. We have pieces. We don't have the whole picture. We have data from a single 87-year-old man, a handful of rats, and thousands of near-death survivors who all describe something eerily similar in languages that have never touched each other. And that's exactly what keeps this question alive. So maybe death isn't a wall. Maybe it's a doorway your brain was quietly building your whole life, neuron by neuron, memory by memory, without ever telling you. Maybe the last second isn't an ending. Maybe it's the longest second you'll ever live. A private film, an unedited reel, every face, every summer, every small, forgotten Tuesday afternoon. And maybe that's why the dying so often smile. Because in that final second, time stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you finally get to hold. And when the lights go out, the last thing you might ever know is that they were never really lights at all. They were you, looking back one last time.